Hello everybody, and this is a video where we are going to compare Undecember to Diablo Immortal to Torchlight Infinite. Now, I have spent probably 60 to 70 hours probably in Undecember, probably close to 100 hours in Diablo Immortal, and I played through every beta for Torchlight Infinite, as well as I played it for a good chunk of October. So playing the three games. First, so you guys know my history. I've been playing the Diablo franchise since 2000. On December, I've been paying attention to it, but as soon as I found out that it was live, I played through the beta and made it to Act 4. And then Torchlight, I played Torchlight 1, 2, 3, and I've played Infinite. So, and I know action RPGs. Action RPGs are my thing. First off, stories. Torchlight, I can't really say because it's not finished, I don't think. I think it's technically still in beta. Then you have Diablo's story. It's a very good story. They put a lot of effort into it, and it takes place in between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 as well. Undecember, I really like the story of Undecember. They put a lot of effort into it, and one thing that I kind of give the leg up is how long that game is. Another thing to fully implement is which one has a better art style. Torchlight Infinite, I do not really care for the art style. It's a lot like Torchlight 3. I really don't like that super cartoony style that they have, but it still is a good style for you to get into. Diablo Immortal has more of a Diablo 3 style, while Undecember, well, people are comparing it to Path of Exile. It's more like Diablo 2. Now let's talk about, now first, so everybody knows, I am not an endgame kind of guy. So I believe Torchlight and Diablo, they focus more on endgame. I don't like games when they always say, well, if you get to endgame, you can do this. If you get to endgame, you can do this. I prefer games that I can play it without other people, so I don't have to rely on other people to play if I don't want to. None of these games that I'm playing am I in a guild or an alliance or a war band. I love the fact that, first off, Diablo Immortal doesn't really have enough in there. Now, the reason I'm going to go into that in a second, Undecember holds the key in this section. You have 10 acts, so into different chapters. And it is not a hold your hands action RPG. It is almost like Grim Dawn, Path of Exile, and Diablo 2 merged together. It gets really difficult at times. Granted, there are builds that are broken. Toxic Flame or the Flamethrower can really make it easier. The other thing is Diablo Immortal, for one, doesn't have a... After you beat the story, and even when you get blocks, like for some reason Diablo Immortal, and I'm glad Torchlight doesn't do this and Undecember does not, you get to a certain level and then you have to stop. You can't continue the story. You can't keep going because then you got to do the same stuff over and over again, which is bounties and dungeons. But you got to do Elder Rifts, and you got to do these things over and over and over. And the bounties aren't even new bounties. You almost feel like you're doing the same type of bounties over and over again. And that is an issue that I have with the game. One of the other problems is after the other two games came out, it kind of showcased that Diablo Immortal needs more into the game. More into there. We'll go in a second when we talk about classes. Let's talk about combat. The combat in Diablo Immortal is very good. One of the problem is you can only have a certain amount of skills equipped at a time. You can only have 4. There's not a lot of passives in Diablo. There's not a lot of passives. The legendary gear does give you certain things, but you're constantly until you get to that Paragon level. But if you're not if you're not at end game, Paragon level don't mean shit. You can't make it there. You can't do that. Torchlight, at least, you have. This is where I'm gonna start giving Torchlight some praise. It does have really good skill trees. And the fact that you can buy skills when you want. You don't have to wait. And you can plan your build up for what you want. If you're doing the melee class, which is the one I did the most, the Berserker, you can actually do fire and add fire on top of it. There's health boons that you can do. But then there's another skill tree where you can actually find better stuff. Where you can upgrade health, armor, attack speed, fire damage, everything. There's so much that you can do in there. And for customization and characters, Torchlight is very good. Now, Undecember has a little bit more. Because you have the Zodiac tree, which in the middle you have your strength, dexterity, and intelligence. Intelligence is magic base. Dexterity is your hits. Strength is your armor and your health. But then besides that, all around you have all these different trees that you can lock where you can increase different attributes, whether it be your HP, your armor, spell damage, physical damage, barrier, whatever you want. But then there's, at the top of there's also these 7 constellations that you can only put like 7 points into. And they can either increase minion, spell, how much damage you can do, all that. So you can increase all those. But then as you're doing your alchemy or you're getting a mastery in something, you can upgrade that so you can increase your weapon damage, armor, how much you're getting from health potions. You have those, plus you have the skill runes. So we're going to go into the skill runes now because Undecember has no class system. There is no class system in the game. You can choose what you want to do based on, do you have wands and scepters? Do you have a bow? Do you have melee weapons? But even if you have melee weapons, you can use magic spells. Undecember feels like you have the ability to create whatever you want. I have multiple characters. I realize the bow is very hard class to do. So one thing I did is I have the classic barbarian build. You have whirlwind. Plus, in this one, they have an ability where you can have the illusion axe, which spins around you. And then I added fire damage on top of that. And then for single person damage, I wanted to have for a lightning attack. So there's a lightning attack, and then all the runes, when they're in this octagon grid, you can connect runes to make things more powerful, and you can do that. I also have another class that is all lightning based. So a lightning tornado, you could shoot lightning out of your hands, dual wielding wands. And one of the classes I also picked is its melee weapons. So 2 melee weapons, but using poison, which in this game they call toxic, as well as a flamethrower, which is one of the most broken abilities in the game. But I use that. Now, as we compare it to Torchlight in the classes, you have your mage, your gunslinger, you have the melee. The melee I don't like. So one of my biggest things with Torchlight when it comes to the combat everything, we will get back to the combat, is there are really cool skills that you can get for the classes. They work really well. They do work really well once you're at a certain level. But we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, Diablo Immortal they have a barbarian, they have the demon hunter, they have the necromancer, and they have the ranger or the rogue. Now, one thing they are missing key classes. Like, there's no crusader or paladin. There's no witch doctor. The game is limited with the classes they have, and the fact that you can only have 4 skills at a time, where Torchlight you can have 4, but you can customize your skills. Undecember you can have 8. There's 2 different skill bars. You can switch between the 2 and make it a lot better that way. So there's a lot you can do there. But let's talk about combat. Now for combat, it's Diablo Immortal feels just like classic Diablo. Boom, 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 killing mobs, going around, everything. Loot. The loot could be a little bit better. You do get a lot of crappy loot in that game, but you use it to upgrade other things. So the loot is there for a reason. And the one out of the 3 that I have to focus on is Torchlight. And that is, the combat doesn't feel good. Like, yes, I'm doing skills and I'm doing abilities. The problem is, you don't feel strong when you're playing. Now, am I playing Torchlight wrong? Maybe. But when I'm playing these other games and I can fully feel that I'm getting stronger. Let's go back to Undecember again, which is the one I've put the most amount of time into. When I'm playing the game and I level up and put points into something or upgrade my skill runes, I feel more powerful. Like, I can tell that I'm leveling up and that I'm getting stronger as I go on my journey. Torchlight, I don't feel that. I feel weaker as more and more mobs are around me. And that limits the fun that I'm playing with Torchlight. Now, it seems like I'm being mean to Torchlight. And everybody is going to bring up the elephant in the room, so I will bring it up right here. The cash shop. Now, when you have a free-to-play game, you must have a way for a game to generate money. Whether it's Diablo Immortal making $100 million a month. But Undecember is getting like smashed because of how much money. One, it does not throw it in your face. There's a lot of mobile games out there that throw it in your face. Diablo Immortal throws it in your face. Every time you level up, every time you beat a dungeon, it is there. They are the standard bearer for money. And when I'm playing Undecember, it doesn't tell you there's a cash shop. It doesn't come out and say it. Now, it was for Backspace, but now Backspace you have 150 slots. Okay? Storage essence. Yes, there is storage essence. But you don't need all that if you're constantly upgrading gear. Now, I know on the YouTube channel they say wait till you get to a certain tier. But if you're playing and you're in the early game and you're going ahead and doing what you need to do, you are fine with going and upgrading stuff. And then you can go into the alchemy desk and you can take all the supplies you have and you can merge them and you can make your potions and you can make anything you need and you can enchant gear. And I know some people don't like that system, but I kind of like it because you don't really know what you're going to get. You can make it where you have a crap piece of gear. Now, granted, now I'm doing the fact of only upgrading tier 5 and up. But if you go through, you can get good stuff. And the combat feels really fluid in that game. That game feels really good, especially when you're playing on PC. For some reason, Torchlight's combat just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't. Everything's based on an area of effect. And there's not really, it doesn't feel empowering when you're playing the game. Now, the 3 games I have played a lot. Which ones do I play the most? Well, I play Undecember the most. And then behind that would probably be Diablo Immortal. But when I play Diablo Immortal, I feel like I have a job because you have to do this bounty, do this Elder Rift, do this Greater Rift, do the shadow stuff. It doesn't feel fun. The thing everybody has to realize is some of these games are meant for endgame. For you to solely focus on getting to endgame. Well, I'm a solo-based player, so I prefer games that have an engaging story, have stuff for you to do, have good combat, and have good skills. I've been playing action RPGs. If I really was to go back, going all the way back to Gauntlet, but even going back to Diablo 1 in 1997 when I first played it. I've been playing games since 97, and most of the games I play are action RPGs. Me and my wife bonded on action RPGs over Diablo 3. I have put so much time into these kinds of games, whether it's Wolshen, Last Epoch, Titan Quest, Grim Dawn, Victor Varan, Van Helsing, any of these games. I put so much time into it that I know what kind of game I want, how I want the skill system to be implemented. And to me, I just don't think. I think Undecember is a little bit high above the rest. And I know a lot of people don't like that view on things. Torchlight had a lot to make up for, in my opinion. And it just didn't hit the mark. Torchlight 1 and 2 were such great games. So much to do. They had the pet system in those games. And Torchlight 3 was shit. It was a bad game that they had an idea. It wasn't even gone through with the original people. And Torchlight was a franchise that spun off from Diablo. Because people that worked on Diablo went to work on Torchlight. And then it's just, you can't, to go from Torchlight 3 to go to what they did with this one, there's not really a lot of good loot. The enemies are all the same. And the bosses don't feel good. You can literally flub through the game and you could die on a boss and automatically go back through a boss portal and just keep hacking away at the boss. It's not, I would say, difficult, but also it's not a fun game. And Diablo Immortal, it's trying so hard to be a great Diablo game, but it's so based in the mobile verse, and also it doesn't play well on PC. And I just don't think it really captures a lot that you would want to do if you're not playing for endgame. I'm not playing for endgame, so that's probably why Diablo Immortal, I put it lower on the totem pole. And I wasn't able to play in any of the betas, so I waited until June, and when I finally played it, I'm like, yes, it was fun to go, but constantly having to, oh, stop, you can't go any further. Go grind some bounties and do some shit that you've done 100 times already in order to level up, play for a little bit, and then another block. It's not something that was fun. And to me, Undecember is fun. And I will tell people that. Don't worry about all the microtransactions that you hear about. Because yes, there's microtransactions for the cosmetics, for the storage space, for your pet pickup, because you have to rent a pet every month. If you play it like you would play an action RPG, where you're not worried about auto pickup, you look at your storage space and see, what do I have, what should I sell. You can merge stuff together and use the alchemy desk. If you play it like an action RPG and don't worry about an end game, because they've even said it's supposed to take you 100 hours to get past Act 10, then it is a great game. And I will put it against Last Epoch and Wolcen, and even I will put it up there with Path of Exile and Diablo 3. It is that good of a game. It does so much new stuff, and you can, anything that you want, you can grind for in the game. Like, yes, there is a cash shop in there, and you can buy weapons. But the problem is, if you go in there and try and buy weapons and you don't have the right stats, you can't even buy the stats that everybody's just buying to do these broken builds. So I think everybody should at least give the games a go. All 3 games are free to play. All 3 games are on iOS or Android, or all 3 are on PC. You can go into Steam and you can get Torchlight Infinite and you can get Undecember for free. And then you can go to Blizzard.net and you can get Diablo Immortal for free. And they won't cost you any money to try any of these games. So I just say, go ahead, try these games out for yourself. But me personally, it will go Undecember, Diablo Immortal, and then Torchlight. Because Torchlight just missed the mark. Because I loved 1 and 2 and put so much time. And a couple months ago, I replayed and 100%ed Torchlight 1 and Torchlight 2 on the Xbox. And Torchlight 3, I have a bad taste in my mouth from that game. It was not a good game. And I don't think Torchlight Infinite really fixed their problems. I think they have a lot of work to do. I'm not saying I'm not going to play it, but I will play it less than the other 2. So these are my thoughts on these games. And this is also my return to YouTube. I know I take breaks here and there, but I'm going to start putting out content more. But I wanted to do this channel. There's a lot of action RPGs covered on here, and I just going to try these out and keep an eye on the channel, because this week we will also be releasing my review for Gotham Knights. I just wanted to get a little further in the game, so it might be like my early impressions for Gotham Knights, because I'm putting a lot of time in that game. And also Star Ocean, we will be putting a review up there. And my plan is at the end of the month, I'm going to put up a review for Evil West when it comes out, but we will see. All right, I will see you guys next time.